fisken.
Här är bra ställe att fiska. Där borta är ju bra ställe att fiska. Oj, oj, oj. Oj, vad det speglas ner där. Tänk vad fint vatten.
Mathias is away for the weekend, and me and Ivar and Malva decided to go on a small walk, take some hot chocolate and our lunch to go. It's a wonderful day with sun, so our goal is a bird watch tower that is just beside our lake here. A little adventure. Puss.
Jag filmar på båten lite.
Ja. Ivar, the cameraman. Flyter jag?
Varför gör de det?
Att det är trä.
Vad sa du?
Vi behöver ta upp båten.
Ja.
We need to take the boat from the water. We'll do that when Mathias returns home. Another thing for the list.
Hon gör det utan sjunka.
Här är det inte så blöt myr eftersom du ser det växer massa buskar.
Ja. Jag har inte gått förbi än.
Nej.
Jag vet vart man svänger.
Vet du det?
Det är det. Hur gör man vägar? Såna här vägar?
Man går på dem. Ofta till slut blir det en liten stig.
Går man fram och tillbaka?
Här är det väldigt blött, så håll dig på den här sidan.
Här.
Ja, det är jag går. Gick det bra?
Det var ju högt.
Ja, det är jättehögt. Håll i dig.
Varför är det jättehögt? För?
Man ska kunna spana på fåglar.
Oj. Titta. Och en måne. Det är en kvist. Det är en kvist som ser ut som en måne. Och här är ugglor. Så att de inte rasar ner.
Det ska ju vara tråkigt. So here's the lake and then it streams into our stream. Goes over there and back at our place. Finally some lunch.
Vi är uppe på fågelberget.
Fågeltornet.
Fågeltornet. Vi är uppe på fågeltornet.
Var det fint? Dricka varm choklad och äta fika. Mysigt. Ivar och mamma! High five! Okay, let's eat.
Vad är det där?
Var det en bra fika? A really nice small adventure.
Det här var lite rutten.
Mm.
Här var det blankt vatten.
Mm.
Mm. Sånt här kastar jag ju.
Nu ser jag att det är grönt.
Där och sen mörkblått. Mörkblått och grönt ser jag.
Inte så mycket strå.
Filmar ner på marken.
Ja. Winter came. This is probably the snow that will stay, hopefully, otherwise it will be slush. But I guess it's time. We're already past the middle of November. We've been busy as usual. Not much has happened to the building of the house, unfortunately, but it feels very nice to have it enclosed with the windows and insulation in the floor. There are still some gaps up there that I need, a mistake that I made several years ago, earlier in the process, that I need to fix, where the roof meets the wall. I need to figure out some way to fix that, but I think that will be in the spring. In the comments under the last video we got several questions about the insulation in the floor. This is called foam glass. I think that's the English term for it. Skumglas in Swedish. Also another word they use is cell glass, and it's made from recycled glass, and it's very lightweight. It looks like a rock and it's hard like a rock. I guess it's not hard like a rock in that sense that you can crush it easier than a rock. I guess you could ride some very heavy machinery on top of this without everything turning into dust. This is non-organic, so there is nothing here that mold can start to grow on, and it won't degrade. And the nice thing with this is that it is waterproof and non-capillary, or how to say, it has no capillary phenomenon. I don't know if that's the correct way to say it in English. So water won't travel in it. If there is some moisture from the ground, the moisture cannot seek its way up through this material. Imagine if we would have sawdust here instead, laying straight on the ground, and in such a material the moisture will seek its way up through the sawdust. But not with this one. This is not a new material. On the Wikipedia article they said someone in the 1930s invented it. But what is fairly new is the way people who trying to historically restore buildings are using it, at least in Sweden. Or I don't know if it's new. They have been using these for at least a decade, maybe more. But it has gained popularity fairly recently, I would say. Because with this you can do something called, in Swedish it's called a mullbänk. And it's a very old traditional way of making floors where you use dirt or soil to make the inside under the floor, the space under the floor, completely airtight. And because it's airtight, it won't mold or rot the same way. And because it's airtight, you also get draft-free floors. So this is a modern way of doing that with this material. So it's going to be very exciting to see how the climate indoors here is going to be. The next step here is just we need to pack it a little bit more, and so it's completely flush to the beams, and then the wooden floor on top of that. Or the next step for the floor, I don't know if that's the next step in our building journey here, but we'll see. In Sweden there is a term called byggnadsvård. It's a term used for those excited about renovating, fixing old buildings with old ways, knowledge, or at least with new ways that aren't too invasive on the spirit of the old house. And the term byggnadsvård is like building care, directly translated. But the term has become to mean those who care for old buildings in a gentle way, and also trying to be mindful of what materials they are using and so on, so that they can respect the soul of the old building. I don't know if there is any English term for that, but I'm thankful for the movement here in Sweden and also in Finland, because there is lots of old knowledge and also how to implement new knowledge and to build with integrity, or not building like one-time houses or houses that only last for half a generation or how to say. So we are drawing a lot of inspiration and knowledge from those who has gone before us regarding restoring these old houses. This is what happens when you put one in water. Since it's fairly recent that people have been doing insulation like this in old houses with this material, there is a lack of, how to say, time-tested knowledge. So the problem here is, how will this floor and how will this cabin be 100 years from now with this method of insulating the floor? And so there is a lot of information on how this is correctly done, or how we think it's correctly done. Should there be a plastic membrane or some membrane or something on the ground before you pour this in? Should there not be? Also, should you put clay on top of this or some other kind of insulating material on top of this before the floor comes on top? Some have put floor heating in clay on top of this. That seems to be something that works. We have just chosen to make it very simple. We didn't put anything between the ground. We put gravel first that we vibrated down very hard, and then just put this on top of the gravel. And on top of this, the floor is going to come.
Hej Granne, är det först på björn?
Malva is on the run. We have been busy putting up the winter paddock for the rams at our place, and also the winter paddock for the ewes up in the village. The rams we feed twice a day, and we feed them on separate places every day so that the hay waste and all the manure ends up in different places. And the ewes in the village, we have the hay bales, so we open up a hay bale hopefully every 10 days or so to make them last the whole winter. So we tried this last year and it worked pretty well. The challenge we have here is the amount of snow. The snow works perfectly well as a fence to the sheep as long as it's more than 30 centimeters or so. So the challenge is to have them fenced in the fall and also in the spring when the snow gets a frozen crust on top that the sheep can walk on. So how we have tried to solve this challenge with the amount of snow and fencing, the flexi nets that we use in the summer, they are completely useless when it comes to snow. They just freeze stuck and gets bogged down by the snow. Here we have 150 centimeter long poles. We have trained the sheep to respect a tread instead of the flexi net. So we have three treads. Is that the correct term? And the idea is when it snows we can remove this and put it higher like this, and then move everything up with the snow. And in the corners we have put a couple of these. So what we have done now is we have decided this is the place where they are going to spend the entire winter, and made a fairly big paddock where we can feed them and have the animal impact, the wintertime animal impact on this place. There is a lot of moss here and the growth of the grass is worst in this place on our mire. So the rams present on this place the whole winter will certainly have an impact on the growth of the grass. And what we do is, before everything freezes stuck, we just plan out the paddock, put these in place, and now they are frozen stuck. So if we would need to change or add poles, you can do it by drilling, I guess, in the ground and put more poles, but it's easier if you got the whole paddock done, and that's it. In the last video I asked a question of what makes a man, or what does it take to grow up, or
To be a grown-up.
what does it mean to be a grown-up. Yeah. And a lot of very interesting comments came from that question, and I observed something interesting. There was a split, and most of the comments were interesting and thoughtful and maybe disagreed on the specific topic of butchering and being a man or grown up, but still
Could have the discussion.
was able to entertain the question like a grown-up. And then there was some, I don't know how many percentage-wise, but at least a noticeable amount of commenters that was not able to even entertain the question and started whining or crying, got upset, and
It was just a question.
yeah, so the interesting thing, or the thing I have been thinking about after that, or because of my question and the comments afterwards, is one criteria of, at least according to me, I think, as of now, one criteria of being a grown-up is to be able to entertain a question with
Even if you don't agree.
yeah.
Yeah, there were some really angry.
Yeah, and funny ones as well. Yeah. So
we didn't state facts. It was a question.
yeah. But I still think you should be able to butcher animals. I don't know how to exactly express this, but I asked the question because I'm a little bit, or I wish to see that more men and women was able to butcher and harvest animals.
To be able to feed themselves, I guess.
That's yes, but the point is, it's I really don't like slaughterhouses. And if communities know how to butcher, then the butchering and the harvesting of animals could be
local and
a feast and something beautiful.
And not stressful for the animals.
Yeah, and not stressful for the butcherer. It's not. I don't think it's healthy for anyone to be working with something day in and day out, the same thing every day. I don't know. I guess that's a little bit part of life. We do the same thing here day in and day out every day, but we enjoy it, and or not the same thing exactly, but when I was working in butcheries and butchering the same animals every day, the same routine. You came there early in the morning, started butchering, and then in the evening clean the whole place, and then go to sleep, and then next morning the same thing. And I would not be able to work like that. I can tell you. And so the solution I see is that most men and most women would have the skill, and we would raise the animals in villages and communities, and everyone would. That's the vision I have. But I don't know. Yeah, well, I still think this is one of the most important questions.
I think you just like to upset people.
It's nice to be a little bit provocative sometimes. Yes. I enjoy it. But as I said,
provocateur.
yeah. But as I said, those are the best kind of questions.
Yeah.
We can talk about the weather, but these kinds of questions, the amount of good comments under the previous video, that's all those good commenters. Those are the men and women that I would have liked to be in the same room with and have conversations like this. It's very valuable. We talked a lot about Patreon in the previous video and our situation there, where we're gonna change from
one model to another.
Yeah, donate per episode to donate once a month instead. We're still in the process.
Yeah,
So
they're not getting back to us.
I guess there's a lot of patrons that had to change as well, so there is a little bit of a
standstill.
Yeah. But we will get back to you when we know more. And the little response we have gotten seems to be good, so it's going to be resolved as we wish to. Yeah. There were some who apparently had become a member through an Apple iPhone app and got kicked out.
And had to redo the whole thing. So I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, we asked and they didn't know, so
No.
We'll see.
They hadn't heard about it before, so
Yep.
Of course.
But if you're interested in supporting us and what we do here, you can still become a patron. So the link is in the description. I guess that's it for this episode.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Tea time. And sleep time.
Yeah. Gotta prepare for butchering a whole cow in 2 days.
Yay.
Yeah. That is a sign of abundance. It was not planned.
But good.